Hello, everybody. Today we are getting personal. I am sharing with you what it was like when my son was first diagnosed on the spectrum 8.5 years ago. And I was a young mom. I had 2 kids in 18 months, and all of a sudden it felt like you took me and flipped me upside down and shook me around and then flipped me right side up, and I couldn't make sense of anything. It really felt like my world had come crashing down. Today, I don't feel that way anymore. I love the life that we have. I love my child's uniqueness. He is thriving. We are all thriving, but it wasn't always the case. And I didn't know it at the time, but I had a really solid case of PTSD after Rocco was diagnosed on the spectrum. I would have trouble sleeping at night. I would just lay awake and my mind would spin out. I would stare at the ceiling. I would think of all the things that could go wrong. I was trapped in anxiety. I had very little appetite. My hair was falling out, you name it. So if I could go back in time to this young mom who was dealing with something so intense, I would just hold her hand and give her a hug and tell her, you're going to be okay. You're going to get through this. But at the time, it was a struggle to just breathe. But I did heal from it and I did move forward. And I'm here to share with you how I did that, so that you can take these tools into your life and share them with people in your life who might be struggling, especially now with autism, but with all different kinds of special needs, physical disabilities, learning disabilities. I think autism is 1 in 36 boys, and that's astounding. So almost everyone is a special needs parent, really, if you think of you adding in all the kids who have ADD, ADHD, sensory processing disorder, etc. So we're dealing with a huge amount of the population, and I'm realizing as I write my first book how few people have the tools they need to get out of survival mode, to get out of adrenal fatigue and burnout, exhaustion, and thrive. So let's dive into this because I want you to thrive too. You don't have to stay in survival mode forever. So first is I had been a yoga teacher for 10 years. And that was one of the reasons why my son's diagnosis was so puzzling to me. I thought I had done everything right. I had been a vegetarian for 10 years already. I'd done cleanses twice a year. I didn't eat any pesticides in my diet. I did yoga daily at that point for over 10 years. And it felt like a slap in the face when I really had not expected an autism diagnosis to fall into my lap. But it did. And it's the great equalizer. It doesn't matter whether you're rich or poor, white or black, it's happening to many people. And the only thing I knew how to do at that time where I felt like the sky was falling was to wake up in the morning. And I'm an early riser, for those of you who know me. And certainly I was then, of course, because it was my only time alone. And thankfully, I had already been conditioned to just rolling out my yoga mat in the morning and getting on it, sitting on my meditation cushion and doing it. And even on the mornings where I would wake up and feel like, I don't know if I can do this. This meaning life. I don't know if I can do this. I was conditioned enough to get my ass out of bed, throw the covers off, go to the yoga studio, meet my friend for practice. These days, obviously, I practice at home. That's nothing new for me. And I just trusted that on the other side of practice, I would feel different. And I did. Was my life perfect after that? No, it was not. Were my problems solved? No, they were not. But I was able to handle it. I was able to face the day because I had actually done an activity. And if you didn't know this about yoga, listen up. It calms your nervous system down. So when you're in fight or flight mode, when you're in a trauma cycle, when you're experiencing PTSD, you actually, if you want to break out of those patterns, do something. You need to do something that's going to calm your nervous system down and deliver a relaxation response to your brain and body. Yoga will do that if practiced properly. Not everyone teaches properly, but you can always message me and I will help you find someone who can teach you properly. But if you're doing it properly, it delivers this type of response to your being, and it allows you to stop white knuckling so much. It allows your hormones to function normally again so that you're not operating from that place of fight or flight anymore. You're not operating from survival mode anymore. You can actually start to approach life from a place of thriving. This is a really big deal because so many people try to just push forward and do all the things anyway. But think of where that action is coming from. It's coming from a place that is trauma informed. It is coming from a place that is agitated. It's coming from a place that is not at ease within themselves. So if you want to actually make a difference in your special needs child's life, you have to have a handle on you first. And if you're frenetic, you better believe they're going to pick up on that energy. If you're agitated, if you're anxious, it's not going to help them. Special needs children are incredibly sensitive to energy, especially because they can't always communicate well with words or with gestures. So they can really get very tuned in to the energy, the vibration of a room or a person. This is why it's so important that you address this, not just for yourself, but for your child. If you think that you're going to help your kid by plowing through and ignoring your emotions and never doing your own healing work, you are lying to yourself. You have to take care of the house you live in 24 hours a day, your body, your mind, your spirit, if you want to be a strong leader for them. If you're in survival mode, this will not work. So do something that calms your nervous system. If yoga is not your jam, message me. I bet I can make it your jam. But if it's not, try something else. Consider doing EMDR therapy, a form of psychotherapy which works with the nervous system. So you're not just talking, you're actually triggering the body to rewire traumatic memories. Maybe something like acupuncture can help you as well. So there are so many tools out there. The important thing is that you find one and you make the time to use it to heal yourself. And find that as the relaxation response is taking place in your body, life will feel different. Even if all the variables are the same, you will feel different. Your daily life will feel different because you've done this inner work. Another crucial part of my healing process was the fact that I recognized I needed to give myself space in order to process what had happened and in order to move forward. And I mean physical space. Here's why. I was feeling overwhelmed. I was feeling stressed. I was feeling fearful. I was worried about the trajectory of my child's life. And this was such a new experience, both for myself and for my husband, that I felt like if I tried to talk to him about it, I would just overwhelm him. And that was not what I wanted to do, of course, but I needed a place to have a sounding board or process verbally to make sense of my life now, which had taken a completely different route than I thought, without feeling like it was unsafe for me, like without feeling I was going to upend my entire house and my whole family if I did that. For all the mothers out there who are listening, moms are the glue of the family. I was keenly aware that I was the glue of my household. And if I came undone, I was afraid that everything around me was going to come undone. So I'm not saying you have to do this, but for me, what I knew how to do in order to process and heal myself was to immerse myself in my yogic study in India with my teacher. And I actually went back and did that, I think 9 months after Rocco's diagnosis. My children were very young. It was a bold move. And I didn't know how it would go, but I knew I had to try because I felt like I was going to crack. I needed space to process, to be by myself, to shed a lot of the heaviness that I was feeling. And I told myself, I told my family, listen, I'm going to get on a plane. I'm going to give it a week. And if it doesn't work, I'm going to turn around. I'm going to come home. It worked. I stayed for the duration of my trip, and I was a different person on the other side for having taken the time to make myself stronger and more focused and healed and talk things through with people who I knew could help me. And if that's not your jam, if you're not flying around the world right now, most people are not due to COVID regulations, think about something that you can do that will provide you with some space. Maybe you book an Airbnb for one night, or you stay in a friend's guest room, and you, during that time, book an appointment virtually with a therapist who you can talk to, and then give yourself the space to cry after, to journal after, to let it out, and take a walk to help move through your body, or an Epsom salt bath, and give yourself some time to heal. Because if you are plowing ahead at 1,000 miles an hour, just checking off all the things on your to-do list, doing all the things for everyone else and not for you, you're kidding yourself if you think that's really helping your child, long-term especially. So what do you need in terms of space? Give yourself that space so that you can do the inner work. When I came home from that India trip, I didn't know what it was going to be like. I hadn't seen my children in a month. They were toddlers, and I had FaceTimed with them every day, of course, but I was scared, and I didn't know if my husband was going to be resenting me or what it was going to be like. And within 24 hours of being home, Ben looked at me and he said, I don't know what you just did when you were away, but I think it's really important that you do it again next year. I think it's really important that whatever healing work has transpired become a regular thing for you, because you are a different human being. I remember before I had gone and taken that space to process and heal, anything was intimidating to me. Getting an email from my district was intimidating. Having to make a phone call to Rocco's school was intimidating. I just felt like I was so drained. And after taking that space to process and heal and rest a little bit, I was just like, okay, bring it. What needs to be done? What meetings do we have to have? What therapies do we have to book? Who do we need to get on our team to make sure this kid can thrive? Let's do it. Let's make the phone calls. Let's do the evaluations. I can do this. It's very much like the concept of a spiritual bank account. I had built up reserves upon reserves upon reserves for days and days and days in a row. And when I came home, I had reserves, plentiful ones to draw from. And just like if you don't make deposits into your ATM, you're going to go into overdraft. The same is true of your energy and your spirit and your physical body too. So if you're listening to this and you have not made a deposit into your spiritual bank account recently, take this as your permission slip. I'm signing it for you, and go and do it. This might mean you have to ask for support from family members or babysitters. This might mean you have to have boundaries around it. Like, nope, you can't call me during this time. Do it. Your entire family will benefit from you doing this. And the last thing that really helped me to heal was that I fully embraced taking it one day at a time. Here's what this means. I, of course, being a yoga teacher for so many years, was really well-versed in being in the present moment, but yet due to the PTSD I was experiencing, I found my mind spinning out around what ifs. Will Rocco go to college? Will Rocco have a job? Will Rocco get married? Will Rocco have children? Will Rocco be able to live by himself? I didn't have any answers to those things. I still don't have answers to those things, and it doesn't matter to me now. But then it was a constant loop of worry. And what I realized is that I was not being present because my mind was off surfing future waves, and I had to bring it back. Because when I let my mind wander off like that, it literally brought me to my knees. And I questioned my ability to do this as a parent. I questioned my ability to have the endurance I needed to see this through for the long haul. And I couldn't handle it. I didn't have the energy to handle it. But I knew I could do today. So I wake up in the morning, do my practices, and ask myself, what do I need to do today to get out of survival mode, to help my child thrive, to thrive myself, and to find some joy. I'm just going to do that. And then I'm going to go to bed. And tomorrow, I will wake up and see what's needed tomorrow. But I'm not going to try and do tomorrow today. I'm not going to try and do 5 years from now today. I'm just going to do today. That's it. That changed my life. It really required me to embody the spiritual teachings that I had learned and live them off the mat, out of the Yoga Sutra book, 24 hours a day. And when I caught myself wound up and worried and anxious, I'd have to check in and say, oh, wait, has your mind really been focused only on today? No, it hasn't. It's been off here, there, and everywhere. Bring it back. And when I brought it back, I felt a weight lifted. I felt like I could handle it. So these are the 3 things that really helped me heal. And there's no one-size-fits-all approach. I really want you to hear that. There's no one size fits all approach. There is no cookie cutter formula for you to heal from a traumatic diagnosis like autism or anything. But it helped me. And these tools are just the tip of the iceberg. You can also find a therapist that you like. You can also find a support group. I work with special needs parents one-on-one to guide them through everything from preparing from their meetings to making sure they feel seen and heard and have someone in their life who understands. Because I've had women I work with tell me, I have a lot of people in my life who support me, but I don't have anyone who understands. I understand. And if you are in the middle of advocating for your child and it's intense, I want you to know you're not alone. And I want you to download my free mini guide, How to Advocate for Your Special Needs Child Amidst the Pandemic. I'll put the link above. And really give yourself the time and space to read it and to absorb it and review it again the next time you have a meeting or a high-stakes conversation. There are scripts in there you can use. There are techniques to turn the meeting around when it's not going your way. All of these things are things I have lived. So if you need support, I want you to message me. I want you to download this PDF, read it, use it, share it. It's here for you. So you've got this. I've got you. But remember, you can't really step up for others until you've healed yourself. So turn up the heat on that topic, make it priority number one, and you will, sooner than you think, be out of survival mode once and for all. Have a wonderful day. Namaste.